Now, all you people, I want you to set those headphones down. Get up. I said, get up off your chairs and sing it with me one time. One time. It don't cost nothing, but you feel real good. But here we go. It's the Humpday Happy Hour Hangout. Yes, it's the Humpday Happy Hour Hangout. Oh yes, let's all get used at the director's garage.
Can't get enough of it. Hey everybody, welcome to the Humpday Happy Hour Hangout here at the Director's Garage. I'm your host and resident idiot, Michael, and yeah, it's another Wednesday, and why not? We got a couple of things to do today, a couple of things to talk about. I'm going to talk about the biggest controversy on the internet in hi-fi audio in a few minutes. Let you know what that is. You may have heard some of it. I don't know. If you're paying attention, it's particularly blown up on Facebook of all places, although it's mostly a YouTube argument. We'll talk about it. I've also got, we're going to talk about ZMF just a second. That'll be first topic. And then got a couple of viewer photos from Ken's workshop. I'm going to share those in a few. If you have photos to share, and who doesn't, hey, ZMF Atrium. Got the Atriums out. Come back to the Atriums. Why not? Send them to directorsgarage@gmail.com. Directorsgarage@gmail.com. And we'll show them off. Show off your rig, as it were. Okay. Let's talk about ZMF. How y'all doing, everybody? Cheers. Cheers. Happy. God, we made it. I almost didn't stream today. I had to go to a screening this morning for the new Sonic movie. This Jim Carrey, bunch of other stars or whatever. You know, the Sega Genesis little creature or whatever. He's got his third movie out, coming out, and I'm covering the premiere next Monday. I actually got work for a day, and so I'm going to go out and do it because I need work. And so I'm going to go cover that. So to do that, I had to screen the movie today. So I went over to Paramount Pictures, which is a beautiful lot, one of the old school Hollywood lots, and went to a screening room, went to an edit bay there, and they played the movie for me so I could see it. So I know what's going on when I, do questions and stuff like that on Monday. So I did that today, and then I got back, and it was like 1:30, and I'm like, gosh, I haven't even posted. I wasn't sure when I was going to get back, because you had to, you got to press some flesh, you got to talk to people, all that stuff. And so I got back, and it was like 1:30, and I'm like, maybe I just record, because I finished the next script for the next Director's Garage. I locked the script today, so I'm like, I can go ahead and shoot that, which is going to be a shootout video with this headphone right here, the Focal Batiste, and it's not the Noble Audio Apollo. Talking about the differences between those two. Big shootout episode. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a blast. Should be a good time, actually. Enjoying that. And I thought, well, maybe I could shoot that today. And instead, I went, hell with it. We'll just go live. We'll get the live stream done this week. I ran into a stumble about the Hangover Hangout. Trevor from Norn can't do this month. He's going to have to do next month. So I'm looking for a guest for this. I'd like to do it this Saturday in the morning. If not, we'll just do a regular hangout with just the guys. But I'm trying to book a guest for Saturday. to come on and talk about something. And if not, we'll just all hang out and compare notes and talk about stuff. But he doesn't want to come on until his website's done. He's relaunching his website in January, and he thought it's a better promotional gig to come on when I've got a brand new flashy website to talk about. And we're going to learn all about headphones. Also next month, the Hangover crew is going to Audeze. And we're gonna go down to Audeze next month on the 10th of January, and we're gonna go tour their factory, their new factory. It's the same factory, but they've added a whole new section. So really interesting stuff. That's coming up. I've also did a lot of listening this week. Now I haven't done listening in quite a while. Like had a chance to really do a lot of listening in a while, and this Eversolo A6. That I unboxed in the last episode. I have wired this. This thing's doing some really cool stuff. Most notably, I've figured out how to hang a drive off of it. So I'm using it sort of as a music server / streamer / Roon front end. And I'll say up front, I don't think the DAC is that good in this thing. Evidence that you can buy an advanced version of this A6 called the A6 Master Edition. It's got, instead of the silver badging, it's got gold badging all over it. And it's got a better upgraded internal clock, which makes a big difference in DAC when you're talking about a headphone that's doing a lot of decoding. But what I figured out how to do is send the digital data raw out of this box, this Eversolo. It's right here. I'm pointing to it down here. I don't have a camera on it. But if you watch the last episode, you'll see what it's about. And I'm feeding the Lena with it and letting the Lena be the DAC for the system. And it's a great setup. It's like if I had unlimited funds, this would be on my desktop because it's so useful. It's so cool. It's such a great little box, and for $750 to get a front end like this with this features and a touch screen and all this stuff on it, I'm like, it's great. It's great. And the app that associates itself with this Eversolo is a lot better than the Lena's app. So it's much more graphical and user-friendly, and you have better control. You get meters on this thing. You get spectrographs. It was just cool last night. I was playing some Bill Evans, and I'm like watching the piano, and as he's doing runs up, I have the spectrograph up, and it's like, it's the thing with all the multibars that shows you frequencies and, when frequencies are being hit. And to watch a guy do a run up the keyboard and to watch that spectrograph go up with it, because you're moving notes, you're moving tones, you're moving up the scale. And scales are tones, So to watch that on the spectrograph as he's doing these runs up the keyboard is incredible. It's so fun. It's such a fun little device and so cost effective. I'm like, wow, what a great addition. So someday, back when we're working and all of that, we'll see where that goes. That would be an addition I would love to make to this setup. But first, we got some things to do. We got to pay Ray for his amp. And I was listening to the Ray Samuels B21 all week, using both the E-Stat side, and it's actually making me consider selling this Molnar altogether now. They're close. I think the Molnar's got a little more air to it, which I favor for E-Stat listening, but they're so close. I don't even know if I could pass a blind taste test anymore since Ray changed the caps in the B21. I think they're significantly close to where I can probably do without it. And I'm not as hardcore of an E-Stat guy where I would want where I feel like I need two different amps here to drive one headphone. Or two, I've got a couple. I've got the Carbon, I've got that, but and the X9000 and the SR007 Mark I, the old guy from 2000, like me. But I don't think I need two E-Stat amps with two ports each. It's just overkill for this. Although there are things about that KGS that I really like. I love the volume pot on it, and I love the spatiality that it does. It's a little more open in sound and the transients. However, the B21 has better bass response on E-stats, which any E-stat could use. So anyway, so I did a lot of listening this week, and that was really great. I listened to a lot of jazz late night, going through, because what I was really getting into was I have some what I call hyper resolution files and they're like, really good stuff, like, Bill Evans and Cannonball Adderley, and, just great jazz that's recorded in ultra res, which is, 250/60 SD and up. So some of these files are 700 and some megahertz. Like if 192 is like your, like kind of the high end of regular high res files, I call it ultra res because it's beyond that. It's 382, it's 760, whatever it is. It's really super high resolution encoded stuff, and it's just amazing to hear. I mean, it's stuff like that. It's like unless you got a really, like a tape. You're not going to get close to what you can do with this. I mean, this is better than turntable stuff by a pretty good margin at that point. But very cool. And using this as a front end, it's like, God, it's just you get all this visual stuff, and you can actually, you got a little volume control right here on your desktop. When you've got stuff on the other side of the room, it's like, it's hard to change volume and stuff when you're doing something, you don't know remotes and stuff. So really cool. I'm super excited about that. I've had a really good week of listening, and then I also, while I was doing all that listening, I was rewriting my script for the Focal and the Apollo stuff, and I was also taking notes for the Ever Solo review, which will be the episode after the shootout. So there you go. Let's talk about ZMF real quick. ZMF made me not a liar. Last week I gave out my best of 24, and in that list on the for the headphones was a release that I heard at Can Jam from ZMF that hadn't been released yet. And I said, well, this is kind of a cheat because it's not technically out yet, so I don't know if I can call this the best of 24. And sure enough, like the day after we did our live stream, Zach released the Bokeh Open. And oops, wrong one. Sorry, that was premature dissolving Asian. And so here we go. This is what they're looking like. This is the Bokeh closed with the stock wood, and then he's got two variations of the open back that he's selling. He's got a hot fire red one and then a little more muted one. I kind of like this blue red. This is speaking to me a little more. If I had unlimited funds, I would go for something custom. I think the fire red is just a little too much flash for me, I think. But I think these are gorgeous, and this is a magnificent setup. And this particularly with I'm going to drop the music just a hair. I think it's just a little low. This with the amp that he sells, it's called the Homage. This combination, and this is not going to break your bank. The intro price on the Bokeh Open is $900. And you add to that an amp like this, which is about $1,100, $1,200. For $2,000, you have a magnificent sounding system. I gotta watch I gotta turn the volume down on this because there's probably copyright. But just this amp, and he does these in many different styles. I was playing with a green one at let's see if we can find. So there's Zach, and he's showing, this is the Bokeh Open, or the Homage amp, that it marries so well with that Bokeh Open. I think that's a formidable setup for anybody who's looking to get into a high-end sound for not a lot of money. This will do it. This will get you there. I was just enjoying the hell out of this at Can Jam. And it's a setup I would love to get in here at some point. Hopefully, maybe Zach can send me a demo unit or something, and I do a full review on it, because I was so smitten. First of all, I just love the looks of this thing. This thing looks like an old-timey radio. It's so fun, and it's got a bunch of, it's got a bunch of toggles on it so you can select for your headphone, but I think this thing is just beautiful, and it sounds so great, and I was very, very taken by this. So the headline here is that the Bokeh Open is now for sale for pre-order, and he's got deals going on, as he always often does. Release deals going for these. Sorry, I'm going to take a little drink. And smooth, boys. I got out the vodka early. Good God. Ooh. Nobody told me this was raw bourbon. Oh, yeah, big glass of bourbon. Getting the holidays started early. But this, I think this is beautiful, and he's got this beautiful cut, intricate grill cover here that's just amazing looking. I'm a huge fan of this. This is a great setup, a great pair of headphones, and then marry that to a decent amp, and you've got yourself one hell of a good time. Big fan of this, and so congrats to Zach for getting that out, and thank you, Zach, for not making me a liar when I made my picks. But I'm huge into that. I think that's just amazing. So we've got the controversy to talk about, and I want to talk about this quote from Rick Rubin. I don't know if you guys know who Rick Rubin is. Rick Rubin is a producer, and he produced Def Jam is his company, and he produced Sir Mix-a-Lot, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Jay-Z, Brandy Carlisle, Tom Petty, Weezer, Lana Del Rey, Adele, Kanye West. Like, he's just one of the greatest producers in modern music. And there was a quote that I came across of his about Paul McCartney and his bass playing. And I was so taken by this, it kind of blew me away, and I wanted to share it with you. And that was, he said, Rick Rubin just anointed McCartney as the greatest bass player of all time. And honestly, I'm here for it. I mean, McCartney didn't just lay down bass lines, he sculpted the damn Sistine Chapel in sound. Rubin describes watching him tinker at the piano, turning some childlike finger movements into Hey Jude. That's not songwriting, that's alchemy. Meanwhile, the rest of us are out here thinking we're hot stuff if we can learn the riff to Smoke on the Water. I read that, and I was positively taken, because that's my experience too. If you go back and listen to those bass lines that he was doing throughout the Beatles' career and into his solo career, especially his early solo days, the bass really informs the melody of the song. It's amazing to hear the little nuances and counter runs he would put in to his bass lines. And Jeff Emmerich wrote a book about recording the Beatles years ago, and I read it, but I don't remember all of it. But one of the things that sticks out to me in my head was how Paul would come in after hours or before the Beatles would start recording, and he would re-record a lot of his bass lines. Because he wanted them to be special, and he worked out some new ideas. And there were story after story in his book about Paul coming in and re-recording, trying another bass line with the song that they had been working on, and how Paul was just just anal retentive when it came to getting the right bass sound on the Beatles records, and how important that was to their sound. So it's very cool that I came across that quote, and I want to share that with you. Controversy. The big controversy in hi-fi audio this week, because, you know, every week there's something going on. Somebody's upset about something. What it happened, it sort of blew up on Facebook, but it happened over on YouTube. And what happened was a high-end company, that was my video thing. A high-end company made a high-end company called Tom Evans Audio Design, and I'll go to their website. So, you know, we'll give him the plug here, but makes these unbelievably priced and unbelievable creations for your home setup. And these are not something you would just go out and buy, guys. These are super crazy high-end stuff. And his phono stages are in the, you know, we're talking tens of thousands here, right? And this is a $25,000 phono pre that I'm showing you right now. It's called the Mastergroove SR Mark III. So, and this is their best, you know, their highest end phono pre, and they make 10 units of these a year, and they opine about the precision and the you know, what goes into these amps, and and it's true marketing on every level. A set of measurements so in advance of the competition, it will be more akin to testing an advanced alien technology than measuring a mere electronic device. And he's talking about they're talking about the power supply and the front end gain stage, and so the reason this is not, you know, everybody claims this kind of crap in the high-end world. You know, they're trying to move a very expensive product, and they're trying to, you know, get people interested, so they make all these claims. Well, that's fine. So somebody who bought one of these things was having trouble with it, and they sent it back to the factory to get fixed, and the factory said, we can't fix this. I don't know if the warranty had expired or what the problem is, but they said, we can't fix this. So the company said, but why don't you send it, it was in the UK that this went down, why don't you send it to a YouTuber, he's an electronics engineer, and his name is, his channel name is Mend It Mark. Now, Mend It Mark is, you all have watched, if not this guy, you've seen people who do this. They take apart shit and they fix it on a live stream. And sometimes it goes well, and sometimes it doesn't go well. And so this guy has a process that he goes through with every device that comes in. He tries to assess the problem, he tries to duplicate the problem, and then he reverse engineers the product, and then figures out what component went bad. So in the process of fixing this high-end phono pre that they charge $25,000 for, he takes this thing apart and he starts pointing to things that are a little, you know, off, shall we say, on the inside of this thing. He talks about how the boards are suspended using plastic posts instead of metal posts. This is supposed to be high-end gear, and they're sending out their boards separated by plastic nylon posts, which in shipping can crack and break, as opposed to metal posts like you've seen on some of the insides of these amps that I show off. And then he put the power supply, which is this alien technology, on a scope. And it didn't look good. The output of the power supply looked bad. Now, this was not what the problem with the amp was. This is just checking the power supply to make sure it's giving enough voltage to the system. It was, but this clean, extraordinarily clean power on a scope looked like butt. It looked like a butthole. It's not good. So he shows this on the stream, and then he starts reverse engineering the problem, and he draws up a schematic, not stealing the schematic from the manufacturer, but he draws his own hand-drawn schematic for the circuit that he has traced the problem to. And I'm no electronics engineer. I know parts of electronic engineering, but I know enough to get by. And so he draws this part of the circuit where he believes the problem is happening, and it comes down to a capacitor. And he looks at the capacitor and he goes, well, these are cheap capacitors and they fail all the time. And he starts questioning, some of the build, because he's like, this is a $25,000 unit. Why are they using the cheapest capacitors on the market? If you're charging this much money, you should have a perfectly clean power supply, and you should have a completely, you should be using the highest end internal products. And these are just off the shelf products you could go buy from Markertech, you can, or any of these places that sell raw chips. And I'm a subscriber to a bunch of them. Every now and then I get an email saying, hey, you need any diodes, you need any whatever, and they show you whatever they've got going on sale. But these are just off the shelf stuff that this company buys and puts in. And granted, it's nice sounding stuff. They're not saying that it's not nice sounding, but it's not like they're putting together, when you put together all the parts, you're not talking anywhere near a $25,000 product, especially when you're using cheap stuff like nylon board separators. So the guy puts this video together, he fixes the product and sends it out, fixes the problem with the preamp, sends it back to the owner, and puts his video out. And the maker of the amp, which is Tom Evans Audio, gives him a copyright strike. And YouTube, because of being YouTube and the way YouTube works, just took his video down. Just took it down. Took it off, nobody can see it anymore. Because they're saying that he violated the copyright, a copyright, and so the guy's, you can appeal to YouTube, and he's going through that process, but he's like, I hand drew the schematic, so there's no copyright there. You can't copyright a board design. There's no copyright. You can patent it, but I'm not recreating the circuit itself and selling it. I'm just showing how the circuit works and showing where the problem is in this circuit. And I happen to show that this power supply isn't as good as they claimed. That it's kind of a dirty power supply you might find in a lower end product, not something that costs that much money. And, they custom build their case and all that stuff. But, they also custom built and produced nylon separators between their boards, which can crack. And I guess they did in this case. So there's a whole backlash going on right now. And this is one of the few times, look, I usually give the benefit of the doubt to the manufacturers and say, look, they're building stuff. It's on, but when you write this about your gear, something that ascends the product beyond the realm of mortal men, literally, because it's got alien technology that's more akin to what they do. If the future is defined by one component, we believe Tom Evans' audio design will be that component. Given all you know already about the world-beating range of phono stages, when you start using this kind of talk, and then you take it apart and you find out, well, it doesn't have anything all that special in it. You know what I mean? Like you're not using. I paid extra when I had that Woo built, the Woo WA5LE, when I had to rebuild, because I wanted the higher end caps in it. I wanted black caps in it. I wanted them to use a higher grade of product. And I don't have a problem with anybody selling, people can sell their products for whatever they want. And, there's some high-end stuff here. I have not taken apart the Molnar, but I have seen under the hood of this Ray Samuels product. And when you take that apart, you can see that there's a lot going on in there, and it's all hand-built. It's hand-built, and this guy is meticulous. Like you look at the way the resistors are laid out, and they're all laid out in the identical direction. He designs shit and he builds shit so that anybody can understand it, and that and in a way, you can look at it and see the value. And he doesn't always pick the internal component that tests the best. He puts the stuff together that sounds the best, and then he also adds to that a factor of reliability because he doesn't want his amps going bad. And he stands by that to the point of Ray tells his customers, if anything goes back, send it to me. All you pay is shipping, and I'll fix it. This stuff is designed to last forever. It's designed to outlast my lifetime, because when I'm gone, this is my legacy, is these products. And then you see this, and he copyright strikes the guy for doing what he's done hundreds and hundreds of times on YouTube. Right? Well, fixed all this stuff. Working a YouTube channel. He's got 118,000 subscribers. Go subscribe to him, by the way, if you haven't. I have no problem, pushing somebody else's YouTube channel. Why not? To see a company try and take him down, it's just mind-boggling. Now, there's good news here, because there's another guy on YouTube who you've probably heard about. This guy I know you've heard about. His name's Luis Rossmann. Now this guy, I was obsessed with his company, with his the videos he'd make, because this guy would tear apart on live YouTube, on a live stream. He would tear apart a MacBook, which Apple has made increasingly harder and harder to take apart and fix, because everything's getting burned into a circuit board. But he would take apart a MacBook and dissect problems live on the air and get them up and working again. Products that you would swear were just, this is gone. This would be going to the trash bin. And he would get these things in and he would rescue them live on the air. And this guy's built up 2 million subscribers. Huge channel. And eventually he's moved to Florida they got into some conflicts with the city of New York, whatever. Still got his business going, by the way. You can still send your laptop into Luis, but he's not doing those kind of videos anymore. He's kind of moved off in a more political vein, and more of a guy who stands up for the little guy. He's getting behind Mend It Mark, and he's actually saying he's going to repost the video that got banned and put it up on YouTube under his channel, and he's saying, let them come after me, because I will fight them. I have the capital, I have the means, I have the name. I dare them. And he's like flipping off the camera and stuff as he's talking about, like, come at me and try that crap, because I have a history of fighting this stuff, and I will go down in flames fighting for this guy. So Luis Rossmann, another guy you should follow on YouTube if you don't. And if not, go back and watch some. This guy was fascinating. I've never seen somebody work on a circuit board and diagnose a circuit board in a way that this guy could, and it gave me hope that I could actually fix some electronic stuff. And that was when I was getting into rebuilding my my deck back there. And I was following these guys because they were teaching me how to read a scope and how to pull a measurement, and things like that. So I was so I'm just thrilled to see Luis step up and or Lewis, I guess Lewis, stand up and go after this guy. And he breaks down in a video a lot of what I'm talking about here, and he talks about this is the inside of this $25,000 unit. These are the nylon posts that they had used, and then he was looking at the capacitors and stuff, that the part that broke, the capacitor that burned out, and showed, this is just an average capacitor. There's nothing fancy about this, and these guys were selling this at this inflated price, and it was just nuts. So that's the big audio drama this week. It's all everybody's piling on this Mark Evans audio, and for good reason in this case. A lot of times I give the manufacturers the benefit of the doubt, because these are guys just fighting for survival in a lot of places, and a lot of times. And in this case, I'm like, sketch, boys. Sketch. This is really bad. This is not cool. When you start going after some little YouTuber who's just showing how circuits work, and doing that, like, that's bad form, man. That is bad form. Okay, I'm going to do some chat, and then we'll show off Ken's contributions to the comment about any of this stuff. We've seen these controversies pop up. We saw the Golden Sound stuff. We saw DCS, get into trouble for, and this was the rogue legal guy threatening Golden Sound for his review of one of their products, the Bartok review. And then it turned out to be just some guy who had a hard-on for Golden Sound and wanted to bust him. We've seen these things go on with manufacturers in the past. And to their credit, DCS did the right thing. They fired the guy who wrote the thing and offered an apology and all that stuff. So there you go. I'm liking. Yes. I was going to do a poll today. I'm good for a poll occasionally. Let's see, can we start a poll here? Liking, or when I'm damn well ready. Oh, here we go. Click. Here, this will give you something to talk about. Okay, so silly things to do, silly time wasters to click around on while you're sitting here. Let's go through the chat, and then I'll show off the photos from Ken Workshop, and we'll see where we're at, if we're on a crazy little. I've introduced a lot of topics here. This Ever Solo, though, has impressed me so far. That's an Audio 46 contribution. You can go over there and check that out. Boy, for the money and what it does, and I'm finding more and more use cases for this. Couple limitations here and there, but they're so small compared to what this thing can do. I'm like, so impressive. I'm liking. Yeah, that's why I put that in there. Cheeky Fest says here, IMJ, howdy folks. Oh, IMJ is holding out on us. So IMJ has been loving his life lately because he's got his Amanus in, and I know that from Facebook. I follow him on Facebook, and Jonathan's been posting his Amanus, his raw Amanus 1995. Oh, so good, man. Howdy, folks. Been a few weeks since I've been able to join. Glad to be here. Glad you're here, IMJ. Jonathan. Jim Bennett is ready to rock. No AC/DC shirt today. Hi, Ken Workshop. Thanks for stopping by. We'll show off your photos in a few. Jim Carrey, Idris Elba, Keanu Reeves, Shamar Moore, bunch of great stars in that. A lot of his voice work, but Jim Carrey is he does full, the full thing. He's in it. He's actually plays two characters in this next movie, so it's very fun. It's a very fun. I mean, if you're, it's a kids movie, guys. So I'm not gonna blow smoke up you. Up your jumper. Cheat Fruit says, check if Danny from Raw would be able to make Saturday. Oh, I don't have his contact info, but let me put that on in the show notes. That'd be cool. Wouldn't that be an episode? I'd love to hear all about the Amanis and coming up with that. Benjamin Craig says, hey, Michael, I'll try to stay as long as I can, but as you know, I hope you know you're such a refreshing part of the hobby. All love. I'm the dumbest part of this hobby, perhaps, but, you know, why not? Danny's a great guy, Gene. Congrats on getting your Amanis. Oh, he got one, too. We've got dueling Amanises on the director's garage. Oh, man, I'm so jealous. DMP A6 as a streamer only is fantastic for sure. Yeah, I'm telling you guys, I am loving this box. I think that, you know, one thing I would say is I wish that the touchscreen was maybe a little bit bigger, but then you'd have a bigger box. And I'm like, do you want a bigger box? I don't think I do. I think because you go to the A8, you get a bigger box with it, and you get a better clock and you get a better DAC. But if I'm outboarding this stuff anyway, why pay for all that? Why not just get a nice, beautiful, front-facing, gorgeous touchscreen front end for your music? I don't have to have the computer on. It's so good and convenient, and you can just touch the screen and start your music and play through tracks and albums and go on Tidal or Qobuz or whatever it is you want to stream off of. You can also just leave it on and program it through Roon on your desktop or your computer, whatever you've got as a front end. This thing is so flexible and it's so cool, and you can just hang a drive off the back with all your favorite music on it, and you can just stream it right through the box. It's because this Lena is, and this is a great, this thing sounds great. I mean, I'm not gonna, this has a sonic benefit above a lot of other DACs I've listened to, at least to my ears. Disagreed, whatever, it's fine. But the front end on this is, you can't just go into a menu here and call a title and have it play. You've got to go to the DCS app, and then you can play stuff through it without having your system on. And you can put a drive off the back of this thing too, and then that way it's cool. But to have that, it's got, it's got visualizers, it's got VU meters, you can control the music and go back to the top of the track with just touching the touch screen. You can do some micro adjusting of the volume. You leave it open most of the time. You leave it wide open. There's no reason not to. It's digital. You're not going beyond the abilities of the music, pushing the music into distortion and all. But to be able to just knock off 5 dB with, if you're just listening and you don't want to go back and, turn the music down at the amp, and because it's a big thing, just knock off 5 dB. Or if you want to pause the music for a second, you can just touch the screen and pause the music. Now you can have an app open to do that, but your phone, sometimes it times out, it goes to black, and you gotta, to have it just sitting here, and then you've got a graphical front end on it. It puts the full album artwork up on the screen in a beautiful color display. I mean, this is all going to be in the review. I'm probably just repeating what I'm going to do in the review in a couple of weeks. But I'm so hyped about this. There's a lot of hype. But it's worthy hype. It's worthy hype. And I'm sort of smitten with what this little box can do and how it can, and you're not sacrificing quality at all, because I'm still using my high-end DAC. I've just got a nice front end on it that works and looks fantastic with meters and spectrographs and all this, anything you want to show it. It's just amazing. God, it's a great box. Yeah, so there you go. Adnan says, streamer's ironic. He got a Volumio Revo. God, I haven't even heard of this thing. Let's look it up. Let's go live to the internets. Volumio Revo. All right, let's take a look. wireless streamer. I've got a wire. Is this it? Hang on. Let's take a look. Is this it? Is this it? Volume Revo. I mean, this is cool. I mean, and that's neat. But there's no, you know, you don't have the touch screen on this thing, and that's what. I mean, guys. I'm gonna go to Audio 46. Yeah, I see this. I mean, it's full color, gorgeous icons, and you know, it's got the iPhones thing, but this is all Android. I think it's running on. But this is the gold version. See how it's got the gold plating. But I'm just like, and it's for $775. You would get this model. I mean, you don't, because I'm not going to use the DAC on this thing. If you want the better DAC, then yeah, you upgrade. But I don't have no need for it with the Lena stuff here. Oh, I'm not showing it. You want to see it. So anyway, I'm sorry, I don't know at what point I transferred over. So here's the Revo, and this is fine. I mean, this is nice, but it's you know, there's no interface, and that's cool. I'm sure there's an app with this. I'm sure there is. It's got to be. Nice design though. Love the back. Very compact, very nice. But this Eversolo, you get all of this, and it's a touch screen, boys. It's a touch screen. So cool. So cool. And a hollow red. Very cool. Nice setup though, Adnan. Man, that's great. Nephilim says, good evening, gentlemen. Hope fine gentlemen of Hi-Fi. Hope all is well. Howdy, gents, says Hipster Cow. Hipster, cheers, brother. Glad you can make it today. Yeah, except he ended up with the atrium closed. Oh, we're talking about the ZMF thing. He ended up with an atrium closed and a second open for this ZMF November. Now just waiting. No holiday spending for him. I know. I used to have those days. Boys, I'm not spending nothing right now. Not spending nothing. You will see no new gear. You'll only see gear leaving this place, not coming in. Always a pleasure running into you. Do you have the WA22 withdrawal syndrome yet? Or is it a forgotten amp with you? That 22 is a great amp, man. Nice push-pull amp. Nephilim says also that Homage amp does look great and probably worth its price. I think it is. I think that's a very quiet hidden gem that Zach is selling over there. I was really impressed with it. Solid state, nothing, you know, it doesn't do anything it doesn't need to do. Now, it's not going to be powerful enough to drive your Modhouse Tungsten. All apologies to Ryan. but it's got plenty of power for 90% of the headphones, probably 95% of the headphones out there. And it just sounds great. I mean, such a great, and it's compact and small, great desktop unit. He still misses his WA22, says Adnan, but frankly, 300B is a different beast. Yes, it's different spatially. It's much better on texture. The 22 has a little more punch, though. That's kind of the fun part of the 22. And it's push-pull. So if you've got headphone wired for it, you can really take advantage. Except those tubes cost more than the amps, yes. Although, did your boys see this? If you're a 300B guy like I am, special going on right now on 300Bs. The original 300B, $12.99. $12.99. Save $200 on this thing, on a matched pair. Pretty tempting, boys. Pretty tempting. I love Western Electric, and I love those tubes. Those are great tubes. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff. So you can save some money over there. Any self-respecting music person has got to know who Rick Rubin is. Yeah, I know. Ain't it though? But that's a good story, isn't it? About how McCartney is sculpting the Sistine Chapel in bass, and the rest of us are trying to play Smoke on the Water. It's amazing. He always watches Mendit Mark. The guy's a freaking genius. He's nuts. His soldering skills are out of this world as well. Yeah, that's what impressed me about Louis Rossmann when I was watching his fix videos, because I'm like, I've never seen how you quickly and effectively take an IC off of a circuit board. And this guy's doing it with a hot air gun. And I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. And he just does it with a hot air gun. And it just, you know, rebuild solder. He's like, yeah, sometimes it's just a bad solder. He's like, somebody did some work on this thing, and, you know, look at this solder. The solder's crap. So, Nephilim, you guys got to watch Mendit Mark fix tape decks. Wow. I want to do that. Yeah, he got caught. He sure did. Tom Evans, yeah. You know, and I'm sure that the Phono Pre sounds great. I'm not taking away from that, but when you're claiming that you've discovered some new found source, some way to, you know, alien technology to rectify your power from AC into the circuit, and you're using the same op amp, most other, you know, design, same basic op amp design as everybody else. What are you doing? You know, like, that's crazy. That's crazy. It's crazy for me, you know. So, yeah, and you can go through that Rossmann video if you want, and because that is up, and he's got some stills from it. And I'm hoping that he does. I'm hoping that he does post that video like he says he's going to, and let the legal thing try and take him down, because it is a bunch of crap. I mean, it's, and he's like, and he makes good points. You know, the internet's forever, and if you get rid of, you know, the act. Look, take the hit and say, and come up with a counter argument like, look, he may say this, but I stand by my product, or whatever. To try and censor the guy, oh, that's a mistake, man. The internet's going to eat him up, and the audiophile community is going to eat him up for it, because they're ruthless. I mean, look at, you know, MQA, which sounds great. Give him credit. Some MQA sounds great, especially if you have an MQA decoder. I've said this for years. MQA sounds great. It doesn't do what they say it did, and that's their flaw. That's their problem. Thousands lashed with a wet noodle. But MQA does. They're delivering a good product. But they got in the bad zone with audiophiles, and they got boycotted. You know, they got Me Too'd. The audiophile equivalent of Me Too'ing somebody. They got canceled. and it hurt the company, which is unfortunate, because they actually did deliver a good product. It just didn't do what they said it did. But crazy stuff, yeah. Ryan Dietz in the house. Cheers, brother. Always good to see Ryan in the house. But I'll try, guys. If you can get me a contact info for Danny from Rawl, I will reach out after this episode and see if he's free on Saturday for an hour. That would be awesome. And then we'll just do the Hangover Hangout on Saturday, and you could have, you know, the guy who does Rawl. This silly show, man. I can't believe people actually talk to me half the time. But it's fun. It's great. I enjoy it. I enjoy doing it. But, man, someday we'll have a legion. Someday I'll have 100,000 subscribers. Someday, little men. Ryan is coffee. It's coffee time indeed. Haha, it's always coffee time. Especially when Ryan is putting his 17,000th headphone together of the day. Yeah, you guys want to know who's real legit? Overbuilder and incredible tech engineer, Kingwa. He's the main guy for Audio God, and his amps are worth the money. Yeah, I think that there is stuff that is truly impressive, and then there's stuff that is, you know, I don't know. I don't want to start any controversy today. I talked enough about that. Talked enough smack about people. There are a couple of brands out there that I'm like, you could do better. You could do better. You know. But I don't want to single anybody out today. I've already burned. What if Tom Evans Audio decides to make a lesson out of my 6,000 subscriber channel? But you know, I will talk about the guys who build quality, and you know, the Ray Samuel stuff. Look, say what you will, the DCS stuff is built. It's built, man. It's built. You look at the way they folded the boards over and fit the boxes. I mean, there's engineering going on. Keep the heat under control. All these things. They're companies that really do go the extra mile and do it right. So good, but yeah. Hipster Cow says, man, he really wants to buy the DMP-A10, maybe next bonus. I gotta get a job, then I can have a bonus. I can pay Ray. God. Alanetta, cheers, brother. Have you tried out the JDS Lab Synapse? No. Been thinking about picking that up since it isn't a big spend. No, I haven't seen it. Haven't used it. The Audio God DAC. Yes, I've heard a lot of good stuff about it. I just haven't played with it at all. I love the Wikipedia article quoting Jim Carrey's retirement and subsequent return for Sonic 3. I haven't seen what that is. My most fascinating thing I've seen, one of the most fascinating things on the internet, if you haven't seen it, go look up Jim Carrey painting. And there's about a, I don't know, maybe it's 20-minute short on his love of painting and where it comes from and creativity and all that. I was blown away by it. I'm like, the guy's got crazy skills, as well as the ability to just be funny. Jonathan says the size of the screen on the A8 is the same as the A6. Oh, the box is just wider. I didn't know that. I'm sure the components are more. Yeah, I know that the clock is upgraded in that. The DAC chip is upgraded in that. There's a lot under the hood that was improved for the A8. That I've heard before. But the A6, I mean, if you're not going to use that stuff and you're just using it to be the front end, oh my God, $750 for a, I mean, you know, it's your iPhone. I'm just running a set of XLRs across the room. If I ever got this box, I'd put them under the carpet and make it a nice install. But I have wood floors here, but I have carpets laid down, and I just run my cables under them so you don't see them. It's very high-end system here. So fun, man. Streamers are cool, except he had to sacrifice nicer streamers for HQ Player. I had HQ Player working for a while, and now I can't get it working again. And I've had this problem. I've had some network issues off and on in this room, and I'm not sure if it's because of the router I'm using, or what it is. But there's something. I'm not using a router. I'm using, what do they call, a switch? If the switch I'm using. But I've had some issues, and it's the. Sometimes the Lena doesn't come up on my network. It only comes up on under USB, and I am feeding the USB out of the Eversolo into. There's good reasons to do that too, because it's carrying all the data along with it when I use the USB. If I hook it up through the Ethernet streamer, it doesn't carry the data as well, so you don't see the song titles and stuff popping up back there. Which is just handy to have this stuff all into, you know, talking to each other in the right way. But I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, there's the HQ player. Yeah, I had it up and working on Roon and as a plugin, and then I don't know, something's going on. It's not working right. I've got to figure out they changed something or I changed something, and suddenly I'm like, I don't think it's working the way it should be working. So, but in terms of just ones and O's, I'm so sold on this. I think it's great. Let's get back to the chat here, and then we'll do the photos from Ken Workshop and call it a day. It's very nice. 4:30, guys. Cheers. Here in LA, anyway. Getting dark out there. Definitely understand that, Adnan. Howdy, Ace. JTB says he tried the Aria Unveiled. Nothing special. The HE-1000 Stealth V4 is better in every way. I think these unveiled headphones are a swing and a miss by HiFiman and destined to fail in the long run. Well, I've heard good things about the HE-1000 unveiled. People have been talking good things about that. I haven't heard them myself. I've only heard the Sysfara unveiled, which I was impressed with. I put it on my headphones products of 24 list last week. Definitely. I think it's the best sounding headphone of the year. I think the best value of the year, though, man, guys, I'm telling you, that Bokeh Open is just fantastic headphone. Everybody should at least hear that. At least make a point to hear it. You don't have to buy it, just hear it. Try and find somebody who's got one. I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's a great headphone, period. Doesn't matter with price. There's a lot of stigma around price. And as we've just demonstrated in very graphic ways, just because something is in low supply and is very high priced doesn't make it superior. And I've shown stuff where, you know, the Mass Kobo 465. I think it's a great amp. I don't think it's $18,000 great, $16,000 great, but I think it's a great amp. So there you go. But I think that's like that, you know, that's just my opinion. You can have your opinion. If you maybe think it's worth 30 grand, it's up to you. I don't think much of this stuff is worth 30 grand. So funny. We laugh because it's funny, laugh because it's true. But yeah, I think, but have you heard the unveiled HE-1000 JTB? Because I have heard that that's impressing people. But I don't know, you know, how much are you getting over? I don't think there's anything wrong with this as far as it is. Now that I've got something that can drive it. I think it's great that this new version can be driven easier. That's, you know, thanks. But it's also $2,000 more than the outgoing Sysfara. Would have been nice if they dropped it at the same price, especially since there's, you know, less material. Do you think Dr. Fang would come on the Hangover Hangout after I just dissed him a little bit? Sorry, buddy. Hey, I'm a fan of your company. I am a fan of your company. I think this, as far as probably the best headphone of our time overall. All right. Jonathan says, I think they sound better than their veiled counterparts, but I agree, JTB, overall it's a miss for him. I just haven't heard him yet. Wonder how the Ever Solo would compare to the Hollow Red. Well, I'm imagining, you know, as a front end, I'm sure that the DAC and the stuff on the Hollow stuff is going to be better. But as just a graphical front end, if that's what you're here for, if you just want to control your music and have a beautiful display and a way to do quick little adjustments and change tracks and whatever at your fingertips, pause, play, all that thing, you know, without having to go through an app on your phone or iPad here that sits atop this thing. I think there's a great case for this. I think there's a great case for this, especially for the price. It's cheaper than a Roon node, you know. Anyway. Hey, Spades, favorite Christmas albums of this year, chat. I don't know what's out that's new, but you know, I'm always a sucker for Charlie Brown, and I love the Harry Connick Jr. Stuff. We Are in Love, I think there was some Christmas stuff on that, or am I thinking of the Harry Met Sally soundtrack? But I always like those. I always use those when I think it was the Harry Met Sally soundtrack. It's a great version of Winter Wonderland on there. It's just him playing piano. It's fantastic. I've used it in 100 videos, 100 projects. It's a go-to track for me. Anytime I'm doing anything Christmas related, I try and pull that Harry Connick thing and get it to be licensed. I think it's fantastic. One of my favorite things. Or if it's just a fun video that's not going out on YouTube, I'll pull it. Hipster Kyle, Michael, if you do a good price on the Alphabet amplifier, he'd be happy to take it off my plans. Well, I don't know what it's probably going to be about $5,000. It's about what they're going for used. And that's what somebody just bought one for that amount. I don't know, maybe. I can't. I'm like, I can't just sell. I wish I could just give shit away. I'm broke. Functionally broke for the purposes of this channel. We're doing okay. We're not losing the house or anything, but I can't like just give stuff away. Unfortunately, I can't go bargain basement on anything. I just got to get a fair price for stuff. Because I can't survive losing money on this channel. Too funny. Oh, it's such a bad time, guys. We're working towards it. If it means moving, we may wind up moving, but we'll see what happens. The new year is going to be interesting. Buckling up for the wild ride. I am Jay Elenata. He has a Holo Red coming in, and he's going to be testing it compared to the A6 for streaming and Tidal Connect primarily. Well, that's great. The Holo Red, though, I'm not familiar with the Holo line. So I saw a Holo Red, but it didn't have a graphic interface. Is that correct? Where can we find Holo audio stuff? Is it Kitsune? Maybe. Let's see. Holo audio. Oh, I got to do it over here. Sorry, so you guys can see it. HiFi. What? Oh, Kitsune. Not Kitsune. Sorry, guys. Here, I'll let you in on the action. Let's see if we can find a Holo Red. Yeah, there's no graphic interface on this guy, which is fine. I mean, I'm sure it does what it does, and I'm sure there's an app for it that's wonderful and all that, but or is there? No, it's just a box. And that's great, but look at what, I mean, it's the screen, guys. It's the screen and the convenience and seeing all that stuff. And it's capable. You know, the stuff is doing, it's just pushing the ones and zeros off to a DAC. As long as it's doing that without causing jitter or anything like that, they're all going to do the same thing. It's just what's best for, you know, your thing. I just think that having that graphical interface is crazy. Awesome. It's awesome. All right, let's go back to the chat. Ace Spade says his favorite Christmas. Oh, we did that. Nice hipster, you're a gent. I love we, but they make us mail in the warranty cards like letters. Oh, Western Electric. Sorry. Hamster's got to go around the wheel once or twice. I love Western Electric, but they make us mail in the warranty cards like letters. Yeah, that's cool. But they also guarantee their shit for 5 years, so not going to see a lot of tube companies doing that. That's a good thing. He's not a fan of the Aria Bright Sound signature. He keeps hearing the HE-1000 unveiled as the best of the bunch. Yeah, that's what I was hearing too, but I haven't tried it. Lofty's Christmas album is pleasing. Silva and Steiny, Christmas with Silva and Steiny is also very good. take some notes for you those of you throwing a Christmas party. One of my favorite things to do is I've got this piano that plays. It's got a player. It's a player system on the inside of it, and I just put on the Christmas radio, and it just plays piano tunes. Just amazing. It's good stuff. Definitely can understand that JTB, like the Aria Stealth, back when he had it, but it moved on pretty quick and haven't looked back. Certainly had trouble peaks. Been listening to a lot. Speaking of treble peaks, this Caldera had treble peaks until we did that little surgery to it, and now it's gorgeous. Like, it pulled all of that stuff out. Adding that little screen in there, it's phenomenal. Good stuff. Good stuff. Christmas presents for his son arrived. X-Duo. Oh, Neil in the house. Cheers, Neil. Welcome. Thanks for showing up late. Just giving him crap. Pangea outlet strip, blue jeans power cords, intruder portable amp, and a DMP A8. Yeah, you've got the A8. The A6 is in the house. I'm testing it, man. It's fantastic. Fantastic stuff. If the new HiFiman are unveiled, does that mean that the old HiFimans were veiled? Probably. That's what they're saying. Hipster, thanks again for letting me replace Adam as your new son, Neil. I know we're all being adopted. His adoption list is long. Jonathan is interested in hearing your thoughts on it, man. I'm interested in hearing Jonathan's take on he did a write-up. I've got by the way, Jonathan Liu did a write-up on his Imanis on HiFi. Head over there if you want to check that out. But yeah, I'm dying to. I want to get into that with people, and maybe we can get this guy. Maybe we can get Danny from Raw on our Hangout on Saturday. Wouldn't that be awesome? I'll put a note in the community page for those of you who aren't members but might want to see that. If the $3 are burning a hole in your pocket on Saturday and I happen to get them, I'll put a note in the community page. Ipster says, thanks again for letting him replace Adam as your new son. We did that. Still, Nephilim wants to be adopted. Adnan wants to be adopted. You're going to have a big old family dinner, Neil. Yeah, that painting talk is amazing. College grad speech. I forgot what we were talking about at that point. You know what I listened to today though was a Dylan interview. It was an interview or a talk he gave where he was talking about some of the novels that affected his life and his writing when he was younger, and seeing Buddy Holly for the first time, and how he saw him just before he died play live, and it influenced him. Of course, Dylan also has a selective memory and tends to embellish here and there too, so I wouldn't take that as gospel, but you never know. Ken says he always like to look inside gear and see the quality of parts that goes in, just as a DIY hobbyist, but parts quality does matter. Speaking as the guy who has thousands of dollars in resistors alone, I know Ken overbuilds his stuff. And that's great. I mean, that's great. But I don't think you have to. I mean, you have to remember, too, you're paying for R&D in this gear. You're not just paying for parts and the cost to put the parts together. Somebody had to design this product, and it took them a while. And they had to develop it, and they had to test it, and they had to go through and figure out which components work. So, you know, there's time and labor you're paying for, and up to the point that they actually sold you yours. So there's some of that factors into the price, as well as parts. And then is it hand built, or is it coming off of a assembly line where they had a computer stamp, robot stamping in chips and stuff? Who knows? A lot of factors in there. The custom case, is the case custom, or is it being, something they pulled off of the shelf or whatever? Or is it the same case they use in 10 other products? All of these things are factors. in getting to price. But when you're out there at the extreme end, 25 G's, you better be doing something special. I would hope that you're doing something special, you know. Not just selling people because you're saying it's the best. And to some degree, HiFiman has been guilty of that in the past, and they've said that they put they price their Sesfara high because it's the best, and they think that they should be, if they priced it lower, people wouldn't have that perception. And there's something to that too, but you know, somebody's got to pay for it at some point. Not me this week. Have a like new Diablo 2 for sale, $6.99. That's a fair price. It's a good one. Neil says JDS Labs Element 4 is simply fantastic. If he didn't have an obsession with overspending, he'd buy one. His favorite Christmas album is A Tiny Tim Christmas. Play it every Christmas. I love that. I love the Vince Guaraldi stuff, man. It's such a classic. Hollow Red can also do DDC, which is intriguing too. Yes. And he'd like to learn more about the ribbon drivers, namely the Amanis. Yeah, me too. And so, guys, if one or two of you can send me a link to how I might get in touch with Danny from Raw, I'll try to go to the website and see if I can pull something out. We'll see what we can. I'll see what we can do. Before we go today, I'll see if I can get him on the Hangout and see if he's not doing anything Saturday. It might be too short notice, but we'll try. Before we go today, I'm going to take a look at a couple of photos from our good friend Ken from Ken's Workshop. Ken has been investing in some new tasty stuff, including this here stack. This is the Ferrum stack. He's got the ore up top, and then you've got a Wandla down below, and then he's got two Hypsos to send the power to each of these components. Interesting. Does a DAC make a difference on power, on the power thing? I would think it wouldn't, but maybe it does. An amp, yes, I can totally see it, but can varying the voltage to a DAC make a difference? Because I would think it would be on or off. Very interesting questions. He also bought a new turntable. He got this here VPI Scout and a clear audio cartridge. These things are a beast to set up, by the way, because it's a unipivot. Ken, if you need help, I've got all the tools to set this thing up, because I have this exact same turntable, and you need a Fikert scale. You might need a different weight, balance weight. There are different balance weights for the back of this thing. Because my cartridge is light, I had to put a different cartridge weight on it. But they're very tricky to set up, and once you do it, you want to get it in place and not move it, because you also this over here, you see this is the motor that's attached to the belt that goes around the platter. You vary the speed by the distance this motor is from the platter. So you will move it out to make it go slower, and you'll move it in to make it go faster. And you need to do that adjustment and time it with a speed timer. And that's how you adjust this thing. I actually wound up using, because it's a unipivot, the tone arm pivots, and you have to get the angle or the height of the tone arm pivot at the right height for the cartridge, and this thing will rotate side to side because it's on a single balanced pivot, and you've got to adjust the weight so that you are tracking flat, and that is a pain in the butt to set up. It's gonna take a long time, and trust me, I've done this many times. Now I also have the anti-skate, which is just a simple little fishing wire mechanism that puts a little drag on the. It drags the tone arm to the outside. That does help with the tracking a bit, but yeah, there's a lot to adjust on these things. And I have the Fikert, and I have the the speed timer with the strobe light, so you can set the speed up properly. Otherwise, you're just guessing. And then I also have a couple of techniques to get the tone arm leveled. These are not easy to set up. They're not for the faint of heart. Once I get mine set up, I never want to touch it, you know, and I still, it is not set up. I moved in a year ago, and I do not have that turntable set up properly because all my records are still in storage, as JTB loves to point out. Thank you. Yes, a huge pain. Email me. Yeah, definitely use tips on the weight you're using. Can do, and they sell different weighted, different weights. Because I could not get the tone arm. I also have the scale for the tone arm, so you can make sure that you're getting the right pressure and not too much pressure on the stylus, because you'll wear it out faster. There you go. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap things up for today. Again, guys, email me about Danny at RAL, and I'll see what I can see if I can book him and get him interested in doing the Hangout. Thank you guys for stopping by today. Hope you have a great rest of your week. I'm going to shoot the next episode probably tomorrow because my voice is starting to go from doing all the chatting today, chatting today. Make sure you have a great rest of your week. We're getting closer to the holidays. Take care of your loved ones. Enjoy your music. And take care of each other. And I'll see you guys before you know it. All right, cheers.
It's that time. Yes, it is. You know it's happy hour. Let's all hang out. Let's all get drunk. And today, at the director's garage. For happy hour, people. Hey, hey. Let's hang out and get wasted at the director's garage. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, it's time to get juiced.